Developing disability rights in the South Pacific. Developing the capacity of disabled people's organisations in the South Pacific with regard to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. A series of workshops developed and delivered by World of Inclusion in partnership with the Pacific Disability Forum on behalf of the UK Disabled People's Council, funded by the Commonwealth Foundation.
My name is Nofo Valiani Mapsua, and you can call me Nofo. And I come from Samoa.
What our TPO in Solomon Island, we were going out to the province to do the advocacy for the rights of the people with disability in our provinces.
I'm the Deputy President of PNG Assembly of Disabled Persons. I'm glad to see everyone. I mean, apart from the assistive devices that I'm seeing around here, apart from that, I see only beautiful people in this room. Thank you very much.
In January 2011, disabled people from disabled people's organisations from 8 countries in the South Pacific gathered in Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, to share their experiences and to learn about the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Each of the 8 Commonwealth Pacific Island countries was represented by a disabled man, a disabled woman and a disabled young person.
Looking at a map of countries of the Commonwealth who have engaged with the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, it became clear that in the South Pacific area there was quite a big gap. And with the exception of Vanuatu, who have ratified, none of the other countries have. And so the Commonwealth thought that they should do some capacity building.
The conference was planned and led by 2 experienced disability equality trainers from World of Inclusion. At the start of the conference, people were asked to describe the barriers they faced in their communities and to say what they hoped to learn during the 6 days of workshops.
The barriers, well, basically, for me as a person on wheelchairs, I find it physical accessibility as a very critical barriers for me.
The barriers that I come across in my life that affect me, the treatment towards the people with disability. As we are the people with disability, when we were hired ourselves, the people that think that it's just let us out and just thinking that we are the people with disability, that we don't have right to do that. We people with disability, we have different ways to do things.
We find that it's ignorance and a cultural bondage which has captivated the mindset of our civil society that keeps us PWDs in prison. So, it is our job as, to bring us out from that captivity.
What would I like to learn the most from this training? Apparently, it's a process that we can go about when we go back home and to deal with our government, with the society, policy makers and decision makers, to make disability as everybody's issues. Because if we continue to segregate persons with disabilities from national planning and programs, then disabled persons will continue to isolate in society and not able to develop, and will contradict with Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Workshop leaders used a variety of activities, including small group discussion, role play, drawing and paired listening, to explore disability, the barriers people face in the South Pacific, and the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The Tree of Rights. During the training, the Tree of Rights was a very successful activity. It helped participants to get to know the UN Convention. Each branch outlined an article and right in the Convention. Each leaf described what its implementation would mean in society, and the tree's fruits represented the benefits to disabled people of this right.
The Article 12, equal recognitions before the law.
I have the right to get married and have family.
Teachers especially to have the right skills of teaching these disabled children.
During the workshops, young disabled people were supported to meet together to discuss the barriers they and other young disabled people face in their everyday lives. The young people drew up action plans outlining the training and resources needed to support them to develop as young leaders, to help them to support other young disabled people, and to empower them to become involved in DPOs and other community groups. Article 6. During the workshop, one day was spent focusing on Article 6, disabled women's rights to equality. Many disabled women present experience sexual harassment regularly and even within the conference setting.
Our traditional roles for women: do the cooking, look after children, household work, do as they told by men without any voice.
In gender groups, participants were given time to talk and think about sexism in their everyday lives and how it can be perpetuated within disabled people's organisations. The men's group discussed men's active role in women's oppression and recognised their responsibility to change this and to challenge all mistreatment of women and girls. Both groups created plans to support the equal inclusion of both men and women, and everyone identified ways that DPOs could develop to ensure the full participation of women and young people at all levels.
Consulting and making sure women are part of all decisions.
Disabled people in our village, in our community, they're worse people.
During the training, forum theatre was used to develop negotiation techniques. Volunteers were given role-play cards. People playing leaders of DPOs were asked to convince those playing government ministers of the urgent need to implement the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
It's not just money that we wanted, but we want our everything, like to enjoy life like you do to the fullest.
In forum theatre, audience members can pause the scene, discuss the issues and offer ideas to help.
And you also talk about the advantages that this will actually bring to not only disabled people, but the country as well, the whole.
Thank you. This is our country action plan. First one is education. And we would like to conduct a survey on the number of children with disabilities who are not in school.
In country-based groups, participants developed a country action plan using the Disabled People's International Ratification Kit. Participants outlined their areas of concern and the work needed to be done to ensure signing, ratification and implementation of the UN Convention. Each DPO left with a concrete action plan of work to build capacity in their region.
It's also a deaf organization that advocates for the rights of the deaf, according to the CRPD.
I would like to ask you what you like to do if the UN CRPD is implemented. I think we must look forward. You know the rights of women, you know the rights of children. What you are going to do? Women and girls would have the equal rights and will not be discriminated and live peacefully if the UNC RPD is implemented. Education, health, access, and equality will be there for them. Thank you all.
And we have to make sure that all the persons with disabilities are represented. I think when we work together as a community, as a nation, as Pacific Islanders, as all persons with disabilities in the world, we can do it and we can show them what we are capable of. But we have also to ensure that we have a voice, Disabled Persons Organization, because our slogan says nothing about us without us. If they are not there, then there's nothing about us. Nothing they learn about us. Thank you.
I look forward And I hope not in a too distant future, more of these workshops. And I really feel that it should be persons with disabilities running this workshop. I know we've learned a lot, and thank you very much.
Bye.